the only conflict of interest that I could see that I would have to recuse myself from, if it were a matter that involved somebody or a business or whatever that I have a connection with. And I cannot decide on matters when it involves that scenario. So that's the only thing that I can see, you know, in Ward 3, that, you know, the only reason that I could step aside on the matter, and I couldn't make a decision one way or the other.
Well, this question's directed to me, so I'm going to be very upfront and answer it. Prior to my deciding to become a candidate, I wrote a letter to the Ethics Commission in the town of Easton and asked them if it would be a conflict of interest to be on the council and also hold the position I do with the Chamber of Commerce. Now, understand the Chamber of Commerce gets no city, county, or federal money. It's all independent corporation, and people pay into it. We have about 800 members. What I got was, this is in response to your letter to me dated March 12, 2015, in which you've asked if the Town of Easton Ethics Commission for an opinion regarding the potential of a violation of the town's conflict of interest provisions. The Code of the Town of Easton, Chapter 2, Article 6, 2-9. Specifically, you've asked if a conflict of interest exist, would you continue in your present position as President CEO of the Talbot County Chamber of Commerce, and you're elected to the position of council member of Ward 1, Town of Easton. We concluded that such circumstances would not violate the ethics provision of the town, which provides that Town of Easton elected officials shall not participate on behalf of the town of Easton in any matters which would, to their knowledge, have a direct financial impact as distinguished from public generally on them, their spouses, independent child, or a business entity with which they're affiliated. Ethics provision section 219A. Also, we believe that such a circumstance would not violate the more general provision of the town official shall not hold any outside employment relationship that would impair impartiality or independence of judgment. Ethics provision section 2-19. We believe that your inquiry applies to no other part of the town's conflict of interest. If an issue came and I felt it was a conflict of interest, I would recuse myself, as other council members have done for Easton and Talbot County. Thank you.
Well, the simple answer is if there's a conflict of interest, you better recuse yourself. Because the standard applied is if you're doing something wrong, it'll get found out, and then you're in trouble.
I think for everybody's knowledge, each of us had to review a very complex piece of paperwork and sign it with respect to ethics. So all of us here have signed that. We know what the rules are. And I don't know all these people, but I can't imagine anybody here is going to openly violate that ethics thing. So I know I certainly would not. And so I'm not sure about how to answer that question. That we're aware, and whoever's elected wants to follow that rule.
As an attorney, I simply took no cases that involved Talbot County during the 12 years I was on there, so those issues didn't come up. If something does come up, there is a problem. The Ethics Commission can't, however, inoculate any of us against a conflict of interest. So if somebody that we work for or some family member or whatever has a greater interest in the outcome of a project than the public in general, then that's going to raise a question that we as council members will have to deal with. If it happens, you know, it probably could happen with anybody occasionally. Probably doesn't happen very often with people, but when it does happen, it's obviously a serious matter. The appropriate thing to do is to recuse yourself from participating, which, by the way, doesn't mean you don't vote. It means you don't talk. It means you don't get involved. It means you don't use your office. If I had a client, for example, that was paying me, and that client was trying to get something from the town, I couldn't use my office as a town councilman to go out and advocate anything for that client, even if I later took a pass on voting. So it's a pretty demanding standard, and I think, as you indicated, Mr. Engel, we all have to meet it.